Hi everyone, and welcome to Education Today, where we're going to discuss what to do when you don't feel motivated to exercise or look after your health and your fitness. So before I give you some tips, tricks and strategies, I thought I would go over some of the reasons why we may find that we are lacking motivation, and then we'll go through what are some different tools and ways that we can find our motivation to be able to help keep on track with keeping on going on with your exercises, eating in a healthy way, and not losing the plot. So ideas about why we lose motivation. Often what I see in my clients is when circumstances change for them in life. And so when we think about those different circumstances, it can be things like maybe going through a relationship breakup or a divorce. It could be things like having a death in the family, moving house, moving to another area. It could be a change in income or jobs. Changes to your health. Changes as far as injury in your body, can be disease. It can even be a change as far as menopause, and the hormones are not helping you to feel like you have energy, so you're feeling like you're fatigued and tired, and stress can often be another reason as well why we lack motivation. I've also written down here things like medication. Medication can have you feeling tired, lethargic, even fuzzy and not feeling motivated. And I have written down depression and understanding. Girls, I'm a personal fitness trainer, not a doctor. So when I do talk about depression, if you feel that that may be you, you may need professional help. This education today might not be enough. Yeah, so I just want to add that in there. Alrighty, so some of the reasons if we have got these changes happening to our life circumstances, what we can find is different things that we're doing is stopping us from being motivated. For example, one thing we might find difficult is adjusting. So we might find that if we're having to adjust to our new life circumstance and we're really struggling with that, we might find that we're starting to overthink, that we're starting to reminisce about the way it used to be, and we can get an overwhelm of emotions. So it might be things like grief or sadness or anger, and those emotions and that overthinking can stop us in our tracks to feeling motivated to looking after our own health, fitness and wellness. Another area is we can feel quite stressed, and when we are unable to get hold of certain life circumstances, change in relationship status for instance, we can find that the stress within us, because we can't get hold of it, can create sleep disturbances, have us feeling not motivated because we don't feel like we know how to move forward. We're so absorbed in our own stress that we don't know how to get out of it. And so this can make us feel lack of motivation. Overwhelm. Have we all been overwhelmed before? I know I have. And often when I feel overwhelmed, it can have me not knowing whether I'm Arthur or Martha, whether to turn left or right, forward or backwards. And so it can create like a freeze and I end up doing nothing. And so I don't know if any of you can relate to that, but what it can do in regard to feeling motivated is you're so overwhelmed, you end up doing nothing. So once again, it just stops you from progressing, I guess, where you want to go in your health and your fitness. Another area that we can find is boredom. So we might find that if we are bored, that we aren't motivated. And you know, Tony Robbins talks about the 6 human needs that every human has. And just to go over those needs for you is, one is certainty. So every human needs to know they have a certain amount of certainty in their life. But they also need a part of uncertainty, variety in their life. And significance, feeling special, important, needed. Connection, we all need to feel connected or somehow loved by another person. We need to feel like we have some sort of growth going on. So it could be feeling like we're accomplishing or we're learning something new, or that feeling that we're growing. And contribution, giving to others. So if they are the 6 human needs that he speaks of, if we are bored, sometimes it can be that we don't have enough variety going on in our life. We may have become so habitual, another day, same stuff, and we're not getting that variety, that feeling of difference. So just be mindful of that as I go through. Another reason we can lose motivation is we can basically burn out. And we spoke last week about people pleasing and gave you some tips around that. So go back and listen to that if you believe maybe you are a people pleaser. But if you're constantly giving to others, there's no energy to give to yourself. So you lose that motivation to want to spend half an hour or 45 minutes on yourself a day looking after your health and your fitness and your wellness. Another thing is perfection. So are you the sort of person that tries to do everything perfect? So, you know, you're not doing something half-assed, I would say. It's either you do it right or you don't do it at all. So if you're that type of person that really strives to do things really to the best of your ability, that perfection can stop you from being motivated, because you're in this constant mindset of worry. Are you doing enough? Are you good enough? Are you doing it the right way? And you might start to be inflexible in the way that you do your workouts, because it might be, okay, I'm going to work out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for 30 minutes. And then something happens on Wednesday and you cannot work out for 30 minutes. Life's thrown you a curveball. Because you're a perfectionist, you freak out, like you lose the motivation. It's because, nothing works out. Because rather than deal with being flexible, you have become inflexible. So rather than when dealing with that emotion of I'm not good enough because you haven't stepped up to your belief that you need to be perfect, you give up. And so you're not as motivated because you don't feel like you're nailing it, that you're getting to that highest level that you think you should be at. Another is avoiding your feelings. So if you are very much in your head with your thoughts, but you're not checking in with your body as to how you're feeling, and you have these feelings of frustration and self-doubt, but you're not recognizing them, well, you could be feeling unmotivated because you are in this constant feeling of self-doubt and frustration and unhappiness. And until you are able to recognize that, your body's not feeling motivated because your energy level is down, not up, yeah? Another reason, as I've written here, is clinical depression. And girls, I don't want to dig and delve into that because I'm not a professional. I just really advise that if you feel that that is you, to go and get professional help, therapy, diagnosis, whatever needs to happen there. So let me talk about the tips as to if you're not feeling motivated. Tips that have worked for me and I know work for my clients. And the first tip is to have a few non-negotiables, just a few. But you need these few non-negotiables that you show up no matter what, but you are flexible. So let me give you an example. So my non-negotiable is that I exercise every day, and I get up early and I go and do my workouts before breakfast. That is my non-negotiable. However, what would happen if the alarm didn't go off on time, or if I'd woke up with a headache or something like that? If that is my non-negotiable, I now need to be flexible. So if the alarm didn't go off, I may say, well, you know, Dana, you normally spend an hour exercising. Today, you are only going to spend 30 minutes. And I accept that because it's a non-negotiable that I exercise, but I'm flexible with how long I exercise for. My exercise might be I weight train and I go for a run. I wake up with a headache. So my non-negotiable is I exercise. So my exercise might be that I lay down on my mat in my lounge room and I just do some deep breathing and some gentle stretching, and that may be my exercise. I'm flexible. So the idea is that you maintain the habit, but you be flexible around that habit depending on what life gives you. So non-negotiables, girls. So think about what your non-negotiables are that are going to support you in your health and fitness. So I would recommend you think about a non-negotiable being somewhere around movement and exercise. I would say have a non-negotiable around being organised and prepared. And I would have a non-negotiable around something to do with your food, and it might be, you know, I'm only going to drink alcohol on a Saturday and a Sunday. It might be I'm going to have a free day on a Saturday, but I'm going to be non-negotiable Monday to Friday with flexibility, which basically means if you were stuck in traffic and you got home and there was nothing in the fridge for dinner and you had to buy takeaway and get it delivered, so be it. Like, it's flexibility, yeah? So thinking about your non-negotiables and also thinking about with flexibility. So that's one tip that I know can work. So the trick is you want to keep the momentum going. That's the trick. That's the big picture there. The second one is I want you to be aware, I was talking to one of our girls about this yesterday, that all of us have probably different ones of us within us. For example, Morning Dana is happy, she's carefree, she's motivated, she's chatty, she's talkative, and she's fairly clear in the head. Nighttime Dana, same body, you wouldn't recognise her as the same girl. Nighttime Dana is quiet. Nighttime Dana can be irritable, sleepy, tired, can even verge on cranky, girls. So let me ask you a question. If I relied on nighttime Dana to make my decisions about, good decisions about my health and fitness, do you think I would get far? You'd probably go no. You're probably better letting morning time Dana make those important decisions around your health and your fitness. So what would that mean? So if I've noticed of a night time that I'm constantly into the bad stuff, I'm into the chocolate and I'm into the biscuits, and is it because nighttime Dana is running the show? Because she's tired, she's irritable, she's hangry, she wants to go to bed, she's, you know, nothing's working for nighttime Dana. Would you have her run the show if you had your own business? You'd probably go, well, we'd probably sack her. She ain't good. Well, it's the same with your health and fitness. If you look at it like a bit of a project, if you allow nighttime Dana to run the show, she's probably going to lead you astray, make poor decisions, and have you feeling not motivated to continuing because you're feeling like a failure each step of the way. But if you recognized in that moment that it is nighttime Dana making the decisions, you might be able to go, well, what would morning Dana say to do here? She'd probably say, why don't you go and brush your teeth so you've not got that feeling of wanting to eat all the biscuits under the sun. Why don't you take yourself away from that space where you would normally eat biscuits and cake and ice cream, which in our case would be the TV, the lounge room. Take yourself to another space. So for me, that would be go to bed. And why not stop the screens, so watching stuff that's got all the ads with the ice cream and the chocolate, and maybe read or do your journaling or something like that, so it takes your mind off it. So morning Dana would come up with these strategies and she would run the show rather than nighttime. So I want you to be aware that there's many of you within you. So it might be your afternoon self is tired and irritable and sleepy. Is that the smartest person to be making decisions around food? Probably not. So it's probably not the best time to go shopping. So morning Dana might say, you're better to do your shopping first thing in the morning because you're going to make better decisions. You're clearer in your mind. Now I understand we're all different. You might be a nighttime person. So your morning person might be your grumpy, not very clear, decisive self. So you might flip it. You might do things of the nighttime to give you better results. So I want you to think about the idea of there are many you within you. And who is running the show? Is it that person that shows up at the best time of your day, or is it you're allowing all of these different people within you to run the show? Is there a way you can sack that person that's not giving you the best, what's the word I'm looking for? The best advice, and maybe pull in that better you that is going to give you much better advice. And I'm repeating myself there. But hopefully you get the gist of that and have a think about that. What does that mean for you? When is the best you going to show up to give you the best decisions, yeah? All right, another thing I want you to think about is really creating a routine with flexibility. So one of our girls has gone out and bought herself a weekly diary. And she said, I'm going to write up what I'm doing on a weekly basis in regard to exercise and maybe even food. I forget that bit. But she said, then I can see what's working for me, what's not working. So we sort of come to the idea of make up a routine, plan A. And if there's a part of that routine that does not work for you, do a sad face beside it. It means it's not working. So now pick plan B. What could plan B be that may work? So to give you an example with our client, she said, I always talk about preparing on a Sunday as being preparation day. And she said, I always told myself I hate preparation. She said, I discovered because I have small children or younger family, I spend my time on weekends with them, and this client doesn't go to actual paid, I shouldn't say paid work, but she doesn't go out to work on a daily basis. So she has more time midweek. Her making that discovery that she can prepare midweek, and that's okay, that sits with her better. She's like, it's not that bad. I feel like I can do preparation and nail it on a weekly basis. So if she wrote her routine up as preparation Sunday, she'd put a sad face next to that because it's like, oh God, I hated doing that on a Sunday and I didn't even actually get it done. And then she was curious around that and said, why? Well, I hate doing it because I want to spend time with family. And then ask the question, so what could be plan B? Where else could I do preparation? Because it's a non-negotiable. Well, I'll try it on a Wednesday morning. And then she might do it on a Wednesday morning and go, that didn't work because I always get called into blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm going to try it on a Monday afternoon. And eventually you get to that point, it's like, happy days, that worked. And so you tick that box, that becomes a happy face. And so you make this routine with flexibility and you observe what's working and what doesn't. And rather than giving up, you play it as a project or a game where you're going to nail it. And so it's like a happy face comes into preparation, and her next bit might be exercise. She maybe exercises in the afternoon, sad face, I hate it. I get to the afternoon, I'm tired, I'm irritable, I just make every excuse under the sun. So she goes to plan B, plan C. So I hope that that works and helps for some of you. Make sure that you are caring about a sleep routine, because when we're tired and irritable and we haven't slept well, we never make good decisions. So our motivation can be tanked. Make sure that you break things where you're feeling overwhelmed down to the very first step. So just to share, I had another conversation with another client, and she was saying, you know, the house is a shit fire. She said, I haven't been getting my exercise done. She goes, I get overwhelmed because she's thinking, I can't go and exercise for 30 minutes or 45 minutes when I've got all this work to get done in the house. So she said, I get so overwhelmed, I sit in my chair and I do nothing. And so girls, I get that. I can get overwhelmed as well. It can freeze you, stop you in your tracks. So I'm making a suggestion that if you unravel that, what is the very first step? And if we make our health and fitness important, the very first step might be that I am going to give myself a non-negotiable of 5 to 10 minutes of exercise daily, non-negotiable. I don't care if the house falls down around me, 5 to 10 minutes, and then you will start to feel in control. You'll start to feel, I did that, I'm feeling better about myself. And that will give you that next step and that next step and that next step, and then the whole thing will start to come together for you. Another thing is to make sure you reward yourself when you do something well or right toward your health and fitness. So if you got 5 minutes exercise out, rather than going, yeah, but Dana, it wasn't 10 minutes and you didn't do that 30 minutes that you were supposed to do, that's critical, Dana, coming into the game. You've got to get that high five person coming into you that says, well done. You committed to 5 minutes and you did it. Just like if your little one started something, like even reading, they did their ABCs. Oh my God, you know, how exciting, you did your ABCs. They're not reading. They're certainly not reading a novel, but they did their ABCs. And you high five when they get ABC out. They might get D, E, F wrong. You don't care. They got ABC, and as you high five them over time, you give them the confidence to keep practicing to get to Z. Do the same with yourself. High five yourself for 5 minutes exercise. High five yourself for getting your breakfast done properly. High five yourself for preparation. And it will give you the boost and the confidence and the state of mind to progress and keep going. I also want you to consider that support is positive. When you feel alone, it's not motivating. It's like nobody cares, I'm alone. So I say that this is another strategy, and girls, this is why we have the private Facebook group, for you to share your journey, for you to be able to support each other, to be able to lift each other up, to not feel alone. Community is one of those basic human needs, to feel loved, to feel connected. And we have that group there for you to have that. So I do encourage you to be more proactive in that group and be curious around how that makes you feel. And I'm sure when all the women give you high fives, it just gives you that little boost to stay motivated and keep going. The next thing I've written, if you practice gratitude. So our natural state as humans is to look at life negatively because we are scanning for danger 24/7. That's what the human body does because it wants to keep us safe. When we're in that constant scanning of negativity, it can make you feel low emotionally, it can posturally have you stooping forward, and that postural stooping forward and that low energy within you, your focus being on what's going wrong rather than what's going right, can once again stop your motivation. And so when we try and create different frameworks, so we become grateful, and so grateful for my health, I'm so grateful that up here on the Gold Coast, so grateful to have Rob as my husband. Like, having all these things that I'm so grateful for helps me remember the good things that are going on and help me to stay motivated toward what's important, which is my health and my fitness. So remembering that being mindful and grateful can flip the script of what's going on in here and help you to be able to progress. If all else fails, I do recommend therapy. I'm not a therapist, I'm a personal fitness trainer, but I feel like there shouldn't be any shame in that if you feel that that's what you're needing because you're struggling to find motivation to live life to how you're wanting to live it, yeah? So girls, I just want to share with you another tip. I want you to listen to this. Tony Robbins says, if you want to start making positive progress, you need to get into a positive state. Achieving a positive mindset comes down to understanding the triad of emotional psychology. It involves mastering these three forces that control your emotions. These three forces control how you're feeling emotionally. Your physiology, your language, and your focus. Let's break those down a bit more. What does he mean by physiology? He means your body. Have you ever noticed that if you look at people that are sad or depressed, that they've often posturally stooped forward, head low. They're crinkled this way, yeah? And this physiology in your body will not help you to feel positive, motivated, energized, or any of the above. What do we mean by focus? So there's a saying out there that says, where focus goes, energy flows. So if your focus is on everything that's going wrong in your life, or your focus is on everybody else and how they're not doing the right thing in life, that's where your energy goes. So I'm focused on this person because they're not doing what I want. I'm focused on this person because they're really letting me down. I'm focused on this person because they're doing stuff that I don't agree with. Your focus isn't, so it's making you angry, irritable, frustrated. And when you turn the spotlight back to focusing on you and what you can control, then it gives you an opportunity to feel more motivated, to feel ready to go, to feel positive toward progress. So we've discovered, how are you posturally? Are you sitting up straight and tall? Are you standing straight and tall? How is your focus? Are you focused on everything that's going wrong out in your life? Or are you focused on yourself, how I'm feeling, how I'm thinking, yeah? So instead of thinking all these bad things happen to me in your language, why not try and practice what can I do to better my situation? So if language is, once again, poor me, I'm a victim, never works out for me, I'm hopeless. And I will share with you, you're not alone if you're like that, because I can be like that. I will say to Rob, the proof's in the pud, Rob. Like, these are the facts. And I will tell him everything that's wrong, because that's the facts. And so I'm little Miss Negative, and when we play Miss Negative or victim, it stops us from being able to flip the script again. It stops us from being able to move forward. So I want you to be able to see if you're able to catch yourself about your language of how you're speaking internally to yourself and the language you're using with those people outside of you. If you can pick yourself up being negative, try and change the framework around it to positive rather than negative. And so doing all these different tips, girls, thinking about your body, thinking about your focus, thinking about your language, along with all those other tips of reaching out for support, gratitude, therapy if you need it. What else did we speak about? We spoke about creating a routine with flexibility, making sure you sleep and your nutrition is in order, breaking it down to the first step and rewarding yourself, being kind to yourself, high five, celebrate your wins each step of the way, and have non-negotiables and be flexible in your non-negotiables. These are tips, tricks, strategies to help you feel motivated to continuing on your journey of health and fitness. And ultimately, girls, that's our goal, because when we're healthy and fit, we can handle life that little bit better. Yeah. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed today's education. Reach out if you have any questions. Catch us on Facebook so we can stay connected and keep on moving on. All right, girls, take care.